I know I said I was gonna probably kick it off 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, but I decided to do it just a tad bit early because I got to be honest with you, man. I'm watching this Ohio State versus Wisconsin game, and I'm getting a little excited right here, man. Wisconsin is beating up on Ohio State right now, 14-0. I mean, who saw that coming? Everybody been talking about Ohio State and how Ohio State should be the number one team in the land, and I even heard on the at the SEC championship game, Brad Nessler, they were talking about the LSU Tigers probably wouldn't stand a chance if they played against Ohio State. So to actually see that's going on right now, I must say that I'm kind of shocked. I'm shocked. But anyway, man, this is the podcast where we talk New Orleans Saints. Thank you all for checking out the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for spending your Saturday night to talk about the New Orleans Saints big Week 14 matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. And this is a game right here I have been talking about all week long. I've been doing what they call the tail of the tape, where I'm evaluating each position, and who has the strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. But it's finally about that time to give you all a prediction. It's time to stop beating around the bush, talking about who better than who at this position and that position, and give you all who's going to win the game. It's time to put up a shut up. So the question on everybody's mind is who is going to win this football game? Who is going to win this football game? This is going to be a tough battle. The San Francisco 49ers are a really good football team. They really gave the Baltimore Ravens all they can handle last week in some very terrible weather, man. It was cold and it was raining out there in Baltimore. But they battled it out, man. But uh, I look at the San Francisco 49ers, not a lot of weaknesses on their team. They play really good at each level, especially on the defensive side. The front four is really good. Linebackers can run, and the secondary is good as well. The San Francisco 49ers do a lot of things well offensively. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best play callers in the National Football League, has been for a very long time. Then you look at the New Orleans Saints. I mean, all they do is win. I mean, you ain't getting no style points. It's not college football. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this was college football, the Saints probably would be ranked number 6 or number 7. You know what I'm saying? If we talking about style points, it'd be ugly. You know what I'm saying? They get rough, but at the end of the day, the New Orleans Saints always get the job done. And for some apparent reason, I just don't get why the Saints aren't talked about around the National Football League. I said this the other day. The Saints are the most disrespected 10-2 team I've ever seen in my entire life. It seems like they put everybody in front of the Saints, including teams that are not 10-2. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they just don't like the Saints. I just don't get it. I don't know why the national media just do not want to give this team credit for being a good football team. It's like they nitpick everything they do. Oh, they winning games, but they're not blowing people out. Oh, they getting the ball, they executing well, but they're not throwing the ball down the field. Oh, they throwing the ball down the field today, but they ain't running the football. Oh, but I still think the Chiefs better than them. Oh, I still think the Packers better than them. Whatever, man. All this team does is win. You got the defense. These guys went out there and put on a great performance against the Atlanta Falcons on Thanksgiving. The whole entire nation seen that. The whole entire nation seen a guy that nobody even really knew named Shy Tuttle just embarrass Matt Ryan with that stiff arm. And I don't care what anybody says. The New Orleans Saints are for real. And what needs to be discussed is the fact that the New Orleans Saints are a very scary team because they're beating teams and they're not even playing their best football. That's what people are not talking about. They're not even playing well. I mean, they averaging double digit penalties in victories. They're finding ways to win. So can you imagine what will happen when the Saints, when the light comes on? Like it's gonna be very very scary if you're beating really quality teams. Like they put the Seattle Seahawks ahead of the Saints in the power rankings. How? How? If the Saints went to Seattle and beat them, how can you possibly think that they're better than the New Orleans Saints when the Saints prove that they're better than the Seahawks. They beat them in CenturyLink, one of the loudest venues in the National Football League. I don't think people understand how loud that stadium is. When they built that stadium, they called people from NASA to come and help them to structure that stadium. So, they can keep crowd noise inside of it. That is a headache, you know what I'm saying, of a stadium. And they went up in there with Teddy Bridgewater, not Drew Brees, Teddy Bridgewater. And they went out there and they beat them. So how in the world can you put them ahead of them? I know I'm rambling and we supposed to be talking about predictions, but when I hear, when I think about how they get disrespected and the fact that they 10-2 and nobody really talking about them as if, I don't know, like they're Atlanta Falcons or something. But anyway, who's going to win this football game? I'm going to say that the New Orleans Saints are going to win this football game. The reason why I think the New Orleans Saints are going to win this football game is for the same exact reason I'm talking to you all right now. It's the fact that I feel like this team knows that they're being disrespected. And they're being disrespected not just by the national media not calling them a good football team, but the players that should be considered to be some of the best players in the league. Offensive Player of the Year, MVP, and Michael Thomas. Defensive Player of the Year, and Cam Jordan. Nobody even talking about these dudes right now. Nobody's giving these guys any type of respect. It seemed like they got old 2016, 2015 notes when they talking about them, and they think that they have the same type of issues. I'm telling you right now, the challenge has been put out there by Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And I think the last time that the New Orleans Saints organization challenged the fan base inside the Superdome, we seen what happened with the Los Angeles Rams. It took a controversial call and what I feel like a very corrupted National Football League to get these guys out of the Super Bowl picture. So when that crowd goes crazy, and they're gonna be crazy. I mean, we just saw LSU beat the brakes off the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, the first time they won the SEC, you know what I'm saying, in what about 8 or 9 years? You combine that with the fact that the New Orleans Saints are in a big time matchup that can determine the entire NFC coming through the Superdome. Oh, they're gonna be up to for the challenge. They're going to make it very very rough on Jimmy Garoppolo, who I have a lot of respect for, but I don't feel like he's been in a venue like the New Orleans Saints have. I don't think he's been in situations that the New Orleans Saints are going to put him in. When that dome start rocking and that crowd start getting loud and they can't make those adjustments at the line of scrimmage, it is going to be very, very tough for them. But they're going to be in the game. They're going to stay in it. I'm not going to say that they're going to blow them out and beat them down, but I do think that the Saints are going to win this football game. It's going to be a very close game. I got it 20-17, man. I don't think that it's going to be one of those games where all it's going to be an offensive explosion and going back and forth. I don't think it's going to be that type of game. I think that both teams have formidable defenses, and I think that the offenses, I don't know, man. I think that the experience that Sean Payton has going up against Kyle Shanahan from his days in Atlanta, I think that's going to pay dividends. Because I was watching a couple of Atlanta Falcons games. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was watching them, you know what I'm saying? Because, man, I got to do my homework. I was watching that because Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator at the time when they made that Super Bowl run. That Super Bowl run where it was up 28-3, and the Patriots came all the way back and beat them to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, that one. Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator, and I was looking at a lot of the plays that the Atlanta Falcons were running, and they look very similar to the ones of the 49ers. They really look kind of similar. The way that Matt Ryan was throwing the ball, distributing the ball, the way they were running the football. Ironically, Tevin Coleman was there along with Devontae Freeman, and they look kind of similar, man. So I think the experience that Sean Payton had going up against him might kind of help him in this game, to know what to expect. But I mean, it's different players and everything like that. But I think the Saints are going to win this game 20-17. I just don't think that this is going to be a high scoring game. I look at the New Orleans Saints and how they're structured. I think that Drew Brees is going to be getting the ball out of his hands really fast. I still don't trust the left side of the line. I know they play pretty good against the Atlanta Falcons, but I mean that's the Atlanta Falcons. It's not like they the monsters of the Midway or something like this. It's not like back in the day with Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher coming off the other side or something, and they rushing the quarterback or Freeney and Mathis. I mean, it's not like they just got a top notch front four. So going up against the San Francisco 49ers, I'm really concerned about those guys on that left side and the 49ers possibly getting pressure on Drew Brees. So I think there's going to be a lot of three-step drops, a lot of quick slants, a lot of getting the ball out of his hands pretty quick. I think that it's going to be a lot of long drives that's going to be sustained, and that's the reason why I don't think that this game is going to go into the 30s or anything like that. I just think that it's going to be a lot of nickel and diamond, penny and corny and down the field. You know what I'm saying? In order to try to you know, I mean, just try to shorten the game and also just try to get the ball out of Drew hand where he won't you get a whole bunch of pressure. So, like I said, I mean, I see some of the scores in the chat. People are saying that I see 31-21. That's by True Warrior. I think I seen somebody say 31-17. I just don't believe that, man. I just don't see this game like getting into the 30s. I just think that um, man, how quick those linemen are getting to Drew Brees. I think Drew is going to try to get that ball out of his hand as quickly as possible. So I think there's going to be a lot of plays, and there's going to have to be a lot of sustained drives. So I think when you're dealing with sustained drives like that, and time of possession type game, it's always kind of low scoring. I don't think it's going to be a Dallas Cowboy type game. But at the end of the day, I think that the New Orleans Saints are going to be doing a lot of quick throws. So don't be surprised if you see a lot of quick throws in this game. But the 49ers, I think they're going to play really well. I think that they're going to do a really good job. And to be honest with you, I just don't think this is going to be the last time these two teams see each other. I think it's going to be kind of like that Week 8 type deal when the Saints played the Rams last season, and lo and behold, it was the NFC Championship game. I think it's going to be like one of those situations. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be rough. Like I said, it's probably going to be real nerve wracking as a Saints fan and as a 49ers fan. But at the end of the day, I think that both of these teams are going to play really well because they're really, really good. And I just cannot believe that this game is going to be at 1 o'clock. I cannot believe this. Or 12 noon if you're on Central Standard Time. I mean, they should have easily flexed this game. This game could easily be a Sunday night football game, which I think what's the Sunday night football games? Is it the Chiefs and the Patriots? I don't know, but at the end of the day, whatever the Sunday night football game is, I don't think that game can be bigger than what this game means for the state of the NFC. So that's my take on that. That's what I think is the prediction. 20-17. I got the Saints winning the game. Might even be a last minute Will Lutz field goal again, or as I call him, Will Clutch. But if you want to donate to the State of the Saints podcast, you can do so by going to Streamlabs, or you can donate through Stream. Do no, you can donate through the super chat, and you can donate through Steam, Streamlabs. I can't even talk. But anyway, let me go ahead and answer some of your questions. See what you're saying in the chat. Thank y'all once again for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. I'm just getting home, to be honest with you, to do the podcast. I've been out at the mall with my fiance and my son, doing some Christmas shopping and getting him some clothes where he can sit on Santa Claus' lap for the first time. So that was pretty dope, man. I'm really excited about that, having him around for his first Christmas and our first Christmas as a family. But Mark Ford, thank you very much for checking out the podcast. What's good, bro? Been watching you for a while, but it's my first stream with you. Mark, thank you very much for checking out the stream. Even if you haven't seen the stream before, man, I still appreciate you going into the archive, checking it out. I'm extremely humbled that anybody reaches out to me and tells me that they appreciate the show, appreciate what I do. I'm not one of those people that, you know, get all arrogant and stuff like that as they channel grows. Like I understand why the channel is growing. It's because of everyday people, who have the same type of passion I have for the New Orleans Saints. And I'm forever grateful for what you all do, and just the comments that you all make. Just taking the time out to check out the videos. I'm grateful for that. Thank y'all very much. Uh, Jared Poole, what's going on, man? A regular to the State of the Saints podcast. Young Nola, another regular. Keen Arthur, my guy. LSU handle business. Everybody get some gumbo. Yeah, man. LSU handled up on their business, man. That's what they were supposed to do. I feel like by the end of this, and from the looks of this game that I'm looking at on my phone here, I'm actually just keeping up with the game cast. It's 14 to nothing. The Wisconsin Badgers are beating the Ohio State Buckeyes, and if this keeps up, then LSU will be the number one team in the country. I don't think that this is going to affect Ohio State as far as them not being in a college football playoff. I mean, we all know what the college football playoff is about anyway. We all know why this was structured in the first place. It was because small schools that can creep up into it. I mean, let's just call it for what it is, man. Like they didn't want these small mid-major schools to go undefeated, and the BCS system put them as the number 4 team, and they playing in some of these bigger bowl games. That's all this was about. So now you got yourself a man-made committee that can keep out the Boise States or keep out the University of Washingtons or some of these other schools that get hot or have one good year, or keep out of what was that? Who was that back in the day? A couple of years ago, Blake Bortles and UCF. They try to keep those people out. Because they don't want these guys to be successful. I mean, when young kids, young impressionable kids that are playing ball, they see these small mid-major schools on television playing in some of these big bowls. It might make them less reluctant to go to an Alabama or go to a Clemson. They know that they probably can stay close to home and be a star and still be on TV. But now, when you take that away and put a man-made college football playoff committee together, you basically stunt the growth of some of these mid-major schools. But I appreciated it back in the day. I mean, I grew up as an LSU fan, but I still remember when Boise State beat Oklahoma. I mean, I remember how huge an upset that was. And I feel like that was something good for college football. And I feel like by making it a man-made committee, it takes away from the peasantry of college football, because I feel like it's them that are going to be dictating the pace of the college football game, and it's going to really stunt the growth of some of these smaller schools to try to get some of these guys to come in and possibly even play in a bigger bowl where it can actually add to their recruiting. Um, but I'm excited about LSU, man. Congratulations to LSU. They handled up on their business. They should be the number one team in the country. I think this game showed it. Georgia was the number 2 defense in the entire country, and going up against LSU, who was ranked the number 2 offense in the country. So they proved that they were the superior team. And, that's what it's all about. I mean, style points, that's what they wanted. They got those style points. So unless Ohio State about to wheel off about 28, 35 unanswered points, and this game ends 35-14. I think the LSU should be the number 1 team in the country. I hate that Klein and Alonzo are out for this one. Yeah, me too, man, because I think this is really going to affect the way that the Saints play defense. The only person that I see is going to be playing that's a regular is Demario Davis, and well, Craig Robinson. I really like Craig Robinson. I still don't understand, like, why is he just strictly on special teams? I mean, anytime you see Craig Robinson, he's making a play. I think he even sacked Matt Ryan, you know what I'm saying, in the Thanksgiving game. Like every time Craig Robinson comes into the game, he does something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Sean Payton just don't like the way he played. Maybe he missing something we don't see, but I like Craig Robinson. I think he's gonna play in this game. They signed Manti Te'o, and I think they still got Stephon Anthony, a guy who can't cover with a bed sheet. So hopefully, they don't put him in the game as much, because he will be a liability on defense. I like him. He's a good tackler. He was when he was with the Saints in his rookie season. He led the team in tackling, but That boy can't cover with a bed sheet. That boy couldn't cover if he was a cop and he had his partner, you know what I'm saying, on his side. He couldn't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? You know how when you're a police officer, two police officers and a police officer go into a building, he's like, man, cover me. Man, I would not want to be partners with Stephon Anthony. I'm telling you that because I know he would not be able to cover me. Straight up. But anyway, I know that was kind of lame, but it is what it is. That I'm just trying to show you that this man cannot cover and the extent of the fact that he cannot cover. So I want to see Manti Te'o. I think he does a really good job in run support, and I like Craig Robinson. I like his hustle. Let's knock off them Niners tomorrow and keep the number one seed. Yeah, let's do that. Wisconsin looking good right now. Yeah, absolutely, man. That running back, Taylor, man, he ran off that 43-yard run on opening drive. But I like that. You know what I'm saying? That was exactly what I feel like teams should do. Okay. I know it's the State of Saints podcast, but hey, man, it's college football. It's championship night also. A lot of, you know what I'm saying, if you're a fan of college football, I mean, the LSU Tigers, I mean, huge implications, you know what I'm saying, for them as far as positioning, I mean, these games are important. So, if you support the Saints, most people support the Tigers as well, and they love college football. But I think that's the way that you need to come out if you're playing college football. If you're going to come out, go out there and hit a team in the mouth. When this game started, Wisconsin came out the tunnel. I mean, fans were booing. You can really tell, like, the majority of fans were Ohio State fans. Ohio State came out there, it sounded like they was at the shoot. Soon as Wisconsin got the ball, they got the ball down the field. Taylor broke off a 43-yard touchdown. That's the way you supposed to do it. Excuse me. You supposed to hit the team in the mouth. Okay? You don't supposed to be playing timid and conservative like Baylor did. Baylor had the ball down at the one, and the coach played to overtime. No, 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 no. Okay, first off, nobody wanted to see y'all there in the first place. Nobody thought that y'all was gonna beat Oklahoma in the second place. Y'all need to go out there and just lay it all on the line. Your starting quarterback got hurt. Like, go out there, man, and lay it all on the line. That guy throws an interception. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But they played scared, and that's the reason why they lost. They played, they didn't play to win. They played not to lose. And when you're playing not to lose, you're going to end up losing every single time. So shouts out to Wisconsin. They're doing an outstanding job right now. That game is in the second quarter, I think, with about a minute and some change left. 14 to nothing. So Wisconsin is really doing some great things. So I know some people are checking the game out. Y'all keep me posted on it. Uh, CSG 1027. What's going on, man? Appreciate you. Thank you for checking out the channel. I know. Hey, hey, chop, chop. Hey, hey, hey. Take that motor. Hey, chop, chop. Yes, Mrs. Naturally Nolans donated 2.99 through Super Chat. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mrs. Naturally Nolans. Yes, if you do donate, there are different, things that will pop up. So if you donate a certain amount, you will see different type of donations that will pop up. But Mrs. Naturally Nolans, thank you for your 2.99. I really do appreciate that. But let's get back to the chat here. X-Men exclusives. We are third defense against the run, so I love our chances at home. Yeah, X-Men. That's a great advantage for the New Orleans Saints to have. Let's just be honest about this. Um, Being third against the run, that's something that the 49ers do really, really well. They run the football. Okay, they run the football really well. They're more like an old school type team. They play a lot of base offense, but the thing about it is, I think that the Saints should be able to stop them. And the Saints have a way of really rising to the occasion. When they're going up in big games, they really try to put their best foot forward. And that's why I got a great appreciation for this team. I mean, every time you see them taking on a big challenge, and a lot of people think that they back against the wall and they're not going to win a football game. They make believers out of people. So in my honest opinion, man, I know the San Francisco 49ers was blowing people out and all that kind of stuff there, but man, it gonna take a special type of team to try to really knock off the Saints. Like I'm telling you, man, like this team smells like smoke because they've been through fire. I said that before and I say it again. It's gonna have to take one heck of a football team to knock off the Saints and really blow these guys out. I don't think that's gonna happen. I know that the Falcons did it. I think that was kind of just unexpected. I think that it's just human nature sometimes. Even though you say you're not looking at a team record, I think you are, and I think that the Saints thought that those guys were DOA and they underestimated them. They will not underestimate the 49ers. I can tell you that right now. Hey, you think that CB2 will play against Michael Thomas? Yeah, probably. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure he probably will. Um, I really honestly think they're gonna be trying to switch up. They're gonna see a lot of Iceman T donated $2 through the super chat. Hey, I should really put Teddy B right there, man. I should put Teddy B right there so I can hear that boy hit that motorbike. But Iceman T donated $2 through Super Chat. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Iceman T. Y'all check out his channel, Iceman T 504. Putting down that great knowledge, man. Y'all check him out. Really good, solid cat, man. Give a very good perspective on the New Orleans Saints as well, man. And also Nas, man. Y'all check out him as well. He's a good, solid dude, man. And he has a good perspective as well. Y'all check him out. Like y'all work, man. Man, I support everybody, man. What y'all doing, y'all doing great things. I feel like we need more channels that focus on New Orleans Saints, man. So y'all support those brothers as well. Uh Iceman T said make it rain. Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Um, our two middle linebackers out. Yeah, they out, man. AJ Klein is a tough one for me. I know AJ Klein is has declined a little bit, but he's a very smart football player. You can always count on him being where he needs to be. So that's a tough one right there. Keen Arthur says, if we stuff the run game like I know we can and get plenty of pressure on Jimmy, we win. The role players must step up this week. Yeah, that's true, man. We got to see Davenport. I mean, we've been seeing him for the last couple of weeks. That's what we like to see. He has 6 sacks this season. We see Shot Tuttle. He's stepping up. Sheldon Rankins getting back into football shape, getting stronger every single week. Malcolm Brown is doing a good job in run support. Of course, Cam Jordan is second in the league in sacks, so he's doing a good job as well. I mean, these guys got to get pressure, man. You got to be able to help out these linebackers and try to get home. You can't have these linebackers that kind of are liability, when covering running backs. And Tevin Coleman, I mean, he is really good at catching the ball out of the backfield. That was kind of like his MO when he was in Atlanta. He can run between the tackles, but he was really good in the screen game and also on those wheel routes and also on those angle routes. So they're gonna have to really help out. They're gonna have to get pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo, and we know that Jimmy has a tendency of turning the ball over. I mean, you get pressure on him, he fumbles the ball. He'll throw you a pick or two. So you want to make him very uncomfortable in the pocket, and if you do that, you definitely got to change. That's a good point, Key. Thank you very much, man. Klein is a strong side linebacker, not a middle linebacker. Yeah, he's a strong side linebacker. Sometimes he'll play middle linebacker in certain coverages. Very rare though. I mean, very very rare. That you'll see AJ Klein at the middle linebacker position. That's on lock. That belongs to Demario Davis, or as we like to call him, Super Demario. But he is an offensive outside linebacker. Yeah, he is. He is outside linebacker. Let's hope Stephon Anthony and Teo still remember the playbook. Stephon Anthony, I highly doubt that. Stephon Anthony, Rob Ryan was his defensive coordinator when he first came into the league. He was his defensive coordinator for about 2 years. Then Dennis Allen came, I think, in his last season before he got traded. I think he got traded to the Dolphins, if I'm not mistaken. He got traded to them, but um, yeah, I don't think he really knows the playbook that Dennis Allen has. So he has been here for the past couple of weeks, so I'm pretty sure he's getting acclimated to the playbook. And we seen what happened with Kiko Alonso. I mean, he got signed at the beginning of the season, and we barely saw him for a few weeks. And once he started getting acclimated to the playbook, you start seeing him on different plays, and finally start towards the latter and toward the late end of the season, you start to see him on the field a lot more. So I think you're going to see that Manti Te'o, he probably knows certain things. He probably remembers certain packages and stuff like that. I've seen in his interview, he was talking about how he was watching Saints games and he was watching like some of the defensive coverages they were running. He was like, "Yeah, I remember that." So that's good to hear that he can just step right in and remember some of the things. And he's a smart guy, man. I mean, he always has been. The only problem is, I mean, he's not as fast as some of those other linebackers, and I feel like that kind of cost him and also his inability to try to cover. I mean, in this day and age, linebackers kind of got to be a little bit of a cornerback or a safety or something like that. You got to have some kind of skills to cover. You can't just be like a throwback like a Brian Cox back in the day or a Mike Singletary or something like that. Those guys would just focus on trying to tackle the running back or try to sack the quarterback. Now you gotta be able to sack the quarterback. You gotta be able to tackle the running back. You gotta be able to cover the running back out of the backfield. When he's running different routes, you gotta be able to keep up with him. So I'm telling you, man, you gotta be able to do these things. If not, then it's gonna be pretty tough for you, man. It's gonna be pretty tough. So um, I don't know. It might be a little rough for him, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to cover. You got to be able to cover. If you don't know how to cover, it's going to be very, very tough for you. I'm going to just be honest with you. Kevin Taylor donated $5 through Super Chat. Thank you very much, Kevin Taylor, for donating $5 through the Super Chat. Really do appreciate that. I also want to say that tomorrow, if you don't, we go live as well. I know some of you know, but some people are probably new to the channel. We go live after every Saints game. Okay, after every Saints game, we go live. So be on the lookout for it. We talk about New Orleans Saints. We break it down, win, lose, or draw. So please, come on back and we're gonna break it down a little bit more. So but Kevin Taylor said the Saints 49ers not showing in Houston. They got the Jags game on. Yeah, same thing here, man. They're gonna show the Carolina Panthers down here. They're playing. Um, so I'm gonna have to watch the game, somewhere else. I'm probably gonna end up. I don't have a Sunday ticket anymore. I felt like it was pointless to have because the only reason why I had Sunday ticket because I wanted to watch the Saints game. And a crazy thing happened. It was like I was paying for Sunday ticket, but the Saints games was coming on like for the last 5 weeks down here in South Carolina. And I'm like, man, what the heck going on here? I'm like, why am I spending $70 a month when I'm only looking at the Sunday ticket, just to watch the Saints? I'm like, man, cancel this. And as soon as I canceled it, then the Saints stopped coming on TV, and I had to find other ways to watch it. Rather, had to go to Buffalo Wild Wings, which I had no problem with that. Or I just check it out. Their websites and stuff like that. You can check it out. But I don't know, man. It's unfortunate that the game not gonna come on. That's why I said they should have flexed this game. I feel like this should be a prime time game. I feel like they should get the A analysts there. They should have Troy Aikman and Joe Buck at the game. I don't know if they're there or not, but at the end of the day, I feel like this game should have been flexed into the like the 3 or the 4 o'clock slot. Depends on your Central or Eastern Standard Time or on Sunday Night Football. LSU and the Superdome will be awesome. Yeah, man, they play pretty good in the Superdome. They don't lose many games, so hopefully, they be hosting that college football playoff championship trophy inside of the Superdome. That'd be great. We already know that Joe Burrow gonna win the Heisman Trophy, man. I mean, there's like this is like the biggest landslide I ever seen when it comes to the Heisman Trophy. Like, I mean, it's not even close. Like they can put guys out there, and I feel like they just throw names out there, to make it sound interesting. But this isn't even close. Like, even if you're like the biggest, supporter of your school and a person that's actually going for the Heisman, like you have to be real. Like, you have got to be honest. You got to be true with yourself. This dude, man, without a shadow of a doubt, earned and deserves the Heisman Trophy. Like, this should be like the first time where nobody gets votes but him. Like, for real. Like, it should. If everybody was being honest with themselves and they were looking at the eye test and they were looking at the way guys played, like, honestly, how can you not select this guy? Like, I feel like it's a straight landslide. Imagine thinking you finna take over the dome. Yeah, man, I've seen them videos of the 49ers, everybody coming down Bourbon Street. Man, what's up with that? Like I seen the Cowboys come down Bourbon Street. I seen the Falcons fans coming down Bourbon Street. 49, like what's going on here? Like, is that some kind of thing? It's supposed to be some kind of sign of disrespect, like they taking over? You're not going to have more fans inside of the Superdome than the Saints fans. I mean, I mean, because of season tickets. I mean, the Saints have, what I'm saying, like so many fans that have season tickets, and there are only so many tickets that you can buy. So for you to even think that you can take over the Superdome, I mean, number one, that's arrogant, and number two, that's asinine. Straight up asinine. You're not going to be able to take over the dome. So stop wasting your time, and you can go out there, do your little second line and stuff like that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You're supposed to have team pride. But at the end of the day, like, be realistic, man. It's one of the loudest venues in the National Football League for a reason. And it wouldn't be that way if more away fans would come and pack the Superdome. It would not be that loud. So really. Wisconsin up 21-7 at halftime. Yeah, I see that. Who that? Thank you very much. Who that for life? Thank you very much, man, for that. LSU SEC champions. Yes, a breath of fresh air. Getting tired of Alabama being in the SEC championship every year. Tired of that. I'm glad that they not in there no more. Thank you, cause man, I know everybody got Alabama fatigue. I know I do. Yeah, I've been. excuse me. Yeah, I've been watching Saints YouTubers stream all day. Yeah. Nas, thank you very much for checking out the show, man. Hey, man, I drunk water too fast. But thank you for checking out the show, man. Y'all check out his channel as well, man. He does great work, outstanding content, man. Like, every time I see his videos, I mean, they improve every single time, man. So y'all check him out. Subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. I appreciate that. I want to see who the Saints OSU player going for. Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest about this. I mean, Michael Thomas, and all them other guys, they love being Saints and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I really do feel like they embrace the culture in New Orleans and everything like that. But at the end of the day, man, they gonna root for their college. They gonna root they gonna root for Ohio State. Like, that's their school. And I don't blame them for that. I don't blame them for being on the Ohio State side when they come to the Superdome. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Like, they went to the school. I mean, I don't have no problem with that. I would find it, very funny if they was over there on the LSU side. If they played Ohio State in the national championship, that would be kind of crazy. To be honest. Uh, We hate Joe Buck. Yeah, the curse of Joe Buck lives, huh? Yeah. Yeah, maybe we don't want Joe Buck at the game. I forgot about that. Jay Woods, that's a very interesting point that you just made. Joe Buck comes to the game, something funny always goes down with the Saints. So leave him at home. Uh I mean, you think about some of the games that he was with the Saints. That Washington Redskin game when the Saints came back in the last 5 minutes. It took like some kind of weird, you know, divine intervention type stuff go on for the Saints to win that game. I mean, maybe the curse of Joe Buck is real. I don't know. Kevin Burkhardt and Charles Davis are now. Yeah, I like them. I like Kevin Burkhardt. I like Charles Davis too, man. I like Charles Davis. He does a good job analyzing. He you don't really hear a lot of bias or nothing like that from him. He calls it down the middle. He talks about bright spots with teams, and he also talks about things that he feel like each team can do better in a very objective way. Not like in a way where it just seems like he's a homer, he rooting for a team more than other one. I live in California and have to watch the Saints in a small box on NFL red zones. So frustrating. Yeah, man, I understand that. I remember when I stayed in Dallas. Man, that was tough. I mean, I had the red zone channel and I was able to watch the Saints there. But I'm be honest with you, during those days, man, that's when they couldn't stop a nosebleed defensively, and it was some tough stuff to watch. Dwayne Randolph said, "What's happening, TJ? This is Dwayne Randolph from Ontario, California. Who that nation forever? Who that? Who that? Who that? I hear you, man. Thank you very much, Ontario, California, man. Represent that West Coast. Thank you very much for checking out the podcast. I appreciate that. Tell San Francisco fans that they are about to come into the Lions Den. Yeah, I think they're gonna understand. I think they're gonna understand when they get there. They're gonna understand like this just not just another game. This gonna have like a playoff atmosphere. It's kind of gonna be similar to that Pittsburgh Steelers game, in my opinion, or that NFC Championship game. Joe Burrow has the Heisman by a mile, man. By a mile, that's it. It's sniper pegging. Yeah, that's it. Like, man, I say at least about 10 miles. I don't feel like nobody even close to him. Like, it's like I mean, he gone, man. Like he just out of here. It's like the rest of those guys just came to the house and realized that nothing's there. Like he already done left. Like he is leaps and bounds ahead of these guys. Like it ain't even funny. Joe Burrow is winning enough said. Yeah, Burrow got the Heisman locked up. That's true. Straight up, man. I think we all can agree Joe Burrow has it locked up. Um, let's see. The San Francisco version of the State of Saints podcast is on. Uh, what did I say? Ronbo. The San Francisco version of the State of Saints podcast is on. I don't get that. Are you saying that the 49ers version of, I mean, I got to talk about the 49ers, man. I mean, the Saints playing them. So I'll trade Kamara for Teddy B and for Joe Burrow. Oh man, like yeah, everybody like Joe Burrow, man. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Alvin Kamara, to be honest with you, man. Like I don't know if he's still hurt or not, but he's gonna really have to step up in this game. We really gonna have to see Alvin Kamara perform really well. He hasn't been doing a good job this season. I mean, only one touchdown. I mean, this is Alvin Kamara we talking about here. Yeah, there's no reason why he should have only one touchdown. This guy just always makes plays. Ever since he came into the league, I heard somebody say, "But dude, I feel like he's." Somebody asked me this question. I should say. They asked me, "Do I feel like he believe in his own press clippings?" Nah, I don't believe that, man. I think that he got hurt. Um, and I think that when you're dealing with a knee and ankle injury like he did, man, it takes some time for that stuff to heal. But I think Shannon Sharp said it best. When a guy's out there, the only thing we see is that person's name on the back of their jersey and that number. We don't know what those players be going through in order for them to get on the field. We just know that they out there and they not doing what they once were doing, and we just wondering why. We don't know that this guy probably dealing with all kind of pain and aches and stuff like that that's prohibiting him from playing at a top level. So I don't know, man. We shall see. I hope we play better down the stretch. Um, who cares about the 49ers podcast? We don't. Yeah, man. Look, man, I respect everybody that do a podcast on their team. Like I don't care who you root for. I mean, you got people that do stuff on the Falcons, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't knocking them, man. Like at the end of the day, we all made a decision on who we're gonna love and who we're gonna root for and who we're gonna ride with. I never knock nobody's squad, for making a video about how much passion they have for a squad. I ain't got no problem with that, okay? My only problem is like when people be out there with the fair weather stuff, like if you're not a fan of the team or something like that, and you're trying to just go hard for them because you feel like that fan base will give you some attention and some clicks or whatever like that, I kind of question that. And I feel like eventually it's gonna fall under because at the end of the day, it's all about passion, man. Like whatever you're doing in your life, make sure you're doing it to the fullest and make sure some passion behind it. Cause that's how things are really going to start clicking. It has absolutely nothing to do with how much shock value you can bring. You better have some passion with that because there's only so much shock value you can actually have before people actually realize that you phony. But if anybody out there just out there supporting their teams, I don't have no problem with that. 49er podcast, whatever. Do your thing. But I'm going to evaluate the game. I'm going to evaluate the 49ers versus Saints game. I feel like the Saints are going to win. If you're just tuning in, I feel like they're going to win 20-17. Feel like it's going to be pretty close throughout the game. I think that both teams are going to play really well. And I think that the Saints are just going to get that victory. So, I mean, that's my opinion. I'm pretty sure somebody thinks otherwise. But at the end of the day, I, I feel like the Saints are going to win. Do you feel bad for the Cowboys? Ha! Do I feel bad for the Cowboys? Man, please. No, I do not feel bad for the Cowboys, man. You know I feel bad for? I'm going to be honest with you. I feel bad for the media. That's right, I said it. I feel bad for the media because the media really has to do a lot of very weird things just to keep these guys relevant enough to talk about them. Like, that is why I said a couple podcasts ago, I talked about the power of influence. Now let's just be honest about this. If the media wasn't talking about the Cowboys, would anybody care that they 6-7? Like, think about that. Think about how many teams are 6-7 and below. And nobody's talking about these guys. You ever wonder to yourself, why do they talk about them as much? Like, you ever thought about that? But it just hit me. Like, they are obsessed with the Dallas Cowboys. Like, the media is they're obsessed with them. They're obsessed with these dudes. It's like they so desperate to try to put these guys on to make these guys relevant, man. Like I just don't get it. You got all these other teams you can talk about in the league. Like, give these other teams some shine. Talk about them. These Cowboys, they get like 4, 5, 6 segments on show. Why? What have they done? Honestly, what have they done to deserve this type of attention? And it be the same news story. I mean, you watch their game, it be the same situation. They shooting up in the press box, looking for Jared Jones, looking at his expression when a player don't catch the ball, or looking at Jay. Like, who cares, man? Focus on some of these other teams. Like, don't tell me that everybody want to hear about the Cowboys. They're America's team, man. They, just calling them America's team. It's like somebody that don't. You ever like think about the one food that you just don't like. Like you just don't like it. You can't stand it. And every single day, people are trying to convince you that this is good. Man, this is good. This is good. But I hate it. Don't matter. It's good. It's good. It's good. You don't want to hear it. And it's the same thing with the Dallas Cowboys. And they like, oh man, people, want to hear the Cowboys. It's because they're so annoying. You just want to see them fail if you don't like them. I mean, honestly, that's the reason why. And it's not because of anything the Cowboys did, because if it was any team, you can select any team, copy and paste. It could be the Bengals. If Paul Brown and the Bengals were getting talked about every single day at nauseum, everybody would have some type of investment in them, rather they want them to win or lose. And it seems like this is the team that the media selects to be that team. And I just don't get it. I just don't. I understand they got a nice fan base, but to be honest with you, I think their fan base happened because the media talks about them. They talk about them so much. And when you have a national media that talks about them, it trickles off into all parts of the country. And people probably hear them talk about them all the time. And they probably the team that's always on the TV. So they develop fans that way. But I just don't get it. I just don't. I don't get why these guys are so popular. I just don't. They have done absolutely nothing for over 20 plus years. And if it wasn't for their owner, who act like he the head coach, nobody would care about them. And honestly, I don't feel like they were talking about. Talk about some of these other teams. Talk about how this rare occurrence is happening in the NFC. In the NFC, that all of these teams are 10-2. That you got a 5 seed. Think about this. The 49ers are 10-2, and the Cowboys got a better ranking than they do in playoff positioning. That's what we need to be talking about. But I digress. Joe Burrow said it best. He said they're out. Coach Alabama out recruited them and out fanned them and f Alabama. Yeah, man. Look, man. Look, Alabama has been on top for a very very long time. You know what I'm saying? Like they do a really good job recruiting. They're a football factory. Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach that ever lived, in my opinion. But man, people just tired of seeing them. Like people just tired of seeing them in the championship. People tired of seeing these guys get plastered all on the TV. Tired of it. Like let somebody else get on. You know, I hate to say it, but eventually Clemson gonna be that way. People gonna get tired of seeing Clemson. Who that 504 boy? Watching the Cowboys crumble is one of the greatest things I ever seen. Absolutely. Absolutely. To see these Cowboy fans that talk so mad greasy be quiet, like this is the best thing about this season. And the best thing about it is you got humbled Falcon fans and humbled Cowboy fans. Like, and all is right in the world. Think about this. If you're a Saints fan or a fan of Louisiana sports in general, you got to be on cloud nine right now. I mean, think about this. The Cowboys are a train wreck. The Falcons are eliminated from playoff contention. The Alabama Crimson Tides are not in the college football playoff. And the LSU Tigers probably going to be the number one team in the country and in the college football playoffs. And not to mention that the New Orleans Saints are 10-2 and number one have the number one seed in the NFC right now. If you are a fan of Louisiana sports or the Saints, you have to be elated right now. Like if your sports life should be bomb, okay? Like, like this is the greatest, man, for real. Honestly, in sports collectively, Louisiana Saints sports, this is probably the best year to be a fan because the Cowboys are down, the Falcons are down, Bama is down. Like your team's on top. The Saints and LSU are number one. Think about that, man. That's amazing. That is amazing. Clemson 38-14. That's no surprise, man. Virginia didn't have a shot. We knew that. We already knew. I mean, Clemson had a really easy schedule this season, but I mean, man, they did win a national championship last year. I mean, so we can't just poo-poo on it. from Morgan City, Louisiana, but living on the central coast of California. Who that? Hey, man. Thank you very much for checking out. A lot of people from California in the group, man. Shouts out to the West Coast. Thank y'all. The middle is going to be an issue. Some linebacker crew is thin this week. Alvin K is waiting to get his money. This is why he is worried about getting hit. Well, uh, I understand it, but at the end of the day, man, we need him to play better. I want him to get his money and looking out for his financial security. I mean, cool, but if you're gonna play like that, man, I'd rather put Dwayne Washington in the game. Like, put somebody in that's gonna go out there and hit that hole, man. Ain't afraid of that contact. Like, put him out there. But if you just trying to save yourself for a rainy day and trying to get paid, I mean, to be honest with you, if you playing like that now, I don't want you to get paid because like what a passion at. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, who's to say when he start getting his money? He really start tapering off. I don't know. I mean, maybe this is an indication if we're going that route. I don't want to. I don't want to put him in that category, but I'm just saying. Peyton doesn't run the ball enough. That's why he definitely don't run the football. And I found it funny in his press conference when he made a comment about him running the football. Man, you heard a pin drop up in that thing. The media wasn't saying nothing. He was like, yeah, cause we do a good job running the football. Everybody like, like, shoot, yeah, right. Like, I don't know what world he living in. That boy is delusional. If he think that he do a good job running the football, something wrong with him. I don't know what it is, man. Uh, I don't want to go this route, man. I don't want this. Like, I don't want to say what was on my mind, but it involved a comment that Junior Gillette made. So, but I don't. I ain't gonna say it. Like, if you know the Junior Gillette Sean Payton story, you know what I'm talking about. But if he think that he running the football, yeah, Junior Gillette. I think he butt hurt because Burberry took his shot for the weeks. I don't think he butt hurt because of that Gully Grindhard. I don't think he is, man. Latavius Murray did do a good job, and in my opinion, I think he should still be running the football. This man had like 50 plus yards in the game, and then all of a sudden he just vanished to thin air. I mean, it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he was there, and then he was gone. I mean, I was like, man, what the heck going on here? Um, and all of a sudden, Alvin Kamara is coming in the game, 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard. Latavius Murray gets the ball 7, 8 yards. Then he goes sit down for about 10 minutes, and then the next drive is Alvin Kamara show 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard. Latavius Murray going up in there 10 yards, and then all of a sudden he just vanished, and nobody's seen him in the second half. Like, what the heck is going on here? I feel Kamara has not been the same since Mark Ingram left. Look, I mean, they were teammates. I mean, they weren't Siamese twins. I mean, I understand that they had their press conferences together and it was very entertaining stuff. But they don't share the same brain. They don't share the same limbs. Okay, I mean, look, I mean, it happens, man. It's a business. At the end of the day, I mean, locker room change every year. I'm proud of Mark Ingram. I mean, he's doing an outstanding job in Baltimore. I feel like he fits there like a glove. But I mean, the wheels keep turning. You know what I'm saying? And he needs to perform well. The Saints are going to need him down the stretch. Uh, Kamara has been disappointing. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, he been disappointing. I can't lie to you on that. I hope he gets out that funk, man. Murray needs 10 to 15 carries. Yep, I think so too. Uh, Repping my Saints from Gulfport, Mississippi. Man, what's going on? Man, yes sir, Gulfport, Mississippi. I love going to Gulfport. When I was younger. Kamara still hurt. Yeah, I think he is, but I feel like if he that hurt, man, then put Murray in. Let Murray run the football. Kamara has not been disappointing. He has been very beneficial until he got hurt. Yeah, man. He beneficial, but like I said, I just think that when it comes to running the football and running between the tackles, Murray has done a better job. And me personally, I'll be out there with three running backs. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had Washington out there too. I had Washington, Murray, and Kamara running out that thing. It'll look like, Man, it'll look like the old Dolphins back in the day with Larry Zonka and Mercury Morris around him. Shoot, man, I have, and then they had another running back. I can't think of the other guy's name, but it was three of them. Man, I'll be out there thinking I'm Don Shula reincarnated around this thing, man. Like you got to run the football. It's crazy. You know how they just don't run the football. Like it's amazing. Like it's amazing how this team just don't run. Like you, like as a fan, you just sit up there with your mouth like wide open, like they up by 14 and they still throwing the football. Like, and it's the fourth quarter. Like, what in the world are you doing? Like, who cares if they know you running a football? Who cares? The clock is still running. There's only a couple things that can happen. The clock can continue to run, or they can use up all their timeouts early. I mean, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, run the football. I mean, you just being shocked the way these guys just refuse to run the football. Like, it's like he the most stubborn coach in the NFL or something. It's quizzical to me the way that they allow teams to get back in this game in the games because they don't run the football. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, Boomer. Okay. The Who That Nation is a little bit more dominant than the 49. Look, man, Robert, I see where you're going, but I am not that arrogant to believe that the 49er Nation is not dominant. Okay. I mean, we have to give them some respect. The 49ers have been a really good franchise for a long time. They got a good fan base. And these people love their 49ers. Now they had a couple of down years, and I know um, a lot of teams, I mean, a lot of teams don't get talked about when they have down years, but man, they got fans now. I ain't gonna disrespect them like that. I love the Saints. I think we have a dominant fan base. I think we're a very passionate fan base. But the 49ers have a passionate fan base too. I mean, they got a history and they got fans. The Saints have to stop the run, and who will be the wide receiver that will step up in the game if Michael Thomas is doubled? Man, Lamar, that's the question of the night. Man, shouts out to Lamar Richardson with the question of the night because your guess is as good as mine, Lamar. If you can come up with it. I mean, we got Teddy Butterfingers again. We got Traquan the Ghost Smith. We got uh, we got Hulk Hogan. You know what I'm saying? Because all he do is block and push guys out of the way. Um, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I have absolutely no idea who they gonna have to step up. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna have to get somebody out the audience or something like that. Maybe they're gonna have to get somebody out there. Maybe there's somebody in the crowd that they can select that can run some routes that don't look like they just running around the circle like those electronic football guys. Maybe they can get somebody out there in the crowd that has some hands that can run at least about four routes. Okay. Give me at least four. Okay. We know y'all can block. Okay. Man, them boys be blocking down that field. I mean, it's a thing of beauty. The way that they just come out their breaks, height, put them hands out. Oh man, you'll think Traquan Smith was Teron Armstead. You would think Hogan was Ryan Ramchick. Boy, them boys be doing some blocking. But as far as going out there making plays, no, sir. Not at all. But that's the question of the night, my friend. And when you find out who it is, you let me know. Because but in all seriousness, they're gonna have to step up. Okay, they're gonna have to step up. I mean, Traquan, we know that he has it in him. We've seen it in the Eagles game. Okay, like I mean, the Eagles secondary, it wasn't good. Okay, but for him to step up and make some of those plays, because some of those catches he was making were tough. So he has it in him. I just need to see it more consistent, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he just doesn't have confidence in himself or maybe Sean Payton isn't calling his number. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Kamara will win over our hearts again Sunday. Don't give up on him. I mean, Kamara hasn't lost. He hasn't lost my heart. You know what I'm saying? I still got love for the dude. You know what I'm saying? I think he good. I still think he a fool, but you know, I mean, this is a what have you done for me lately type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be consistent. You know, you got to be out there. You got to be able to perform. If you're not doing that, people gonna be like, man, what's going on with you? Like I said, if he's hurt, nobody really pays attention to it. All they see is the name and the jersey number. Okay, and if you out there, they like wondering why you not being yourself. You know, 49er game is full of bandwagons. Ah man, I can't speak on that. I don't know too many 49er fans. You know, I do know they got a big fan base though. Kirkwood isn't getting promoted to the active roster. Yeah, I think he reactivated his injury, so they put him back on IR. So you're not gonna see him, which made me think like, did the Saints not go out here and try to get another receiver because they thought he was gonna come back, or I mean, are they gonna continue to ride with these dudes? I mean, what's going on? Um, Fake fan, bruh. You ain't been a fan longer than a month or two. Bet. Um, or why? I guess you talking to somebody in the chat. Oh man, y'all be going at it in the chat, man. F the Cowboys. Uh, I live in California. Have to watch the Saints and oh, I already read that one. Um, most Niner fans were Ram fan last year. Doesn't Jerry own like a big part of NFL TV rights or something like that? No, he don't. The only thing Jerry Jones owns, Martin, he owns like all the copyrights to all of the Cowboys apparel. Okay, like like jersey sales, the NFL gets like a percentage of that. The team gets a percentage of that, and the player gets a percentage of that. But with the Cowboys, it's like the Cowboy organizations gets the majority of the shares. The NFL gets absolutely nothing of that, and it's just between them and the players. Jerry Jones has kind of, separated himself. When it comes to like the business and stuff like that, I give him credit for that. Okay, but he don't own no TV rights and nothing like that. I mean, the games that are selected is honestly between the NFL and the networks. Okay, so I'm pretty sure the networks are the ones that are wanting the Cowboys every 5 minutes, and the NFL gladly gives it to them. So and why wouldn't they? Because like I said, they're the center of attention because people just love talking about it. I mean, it's not a sports show that don't go on in the that don't talk about the Cowboys at least about 4 or 5 times each episode. Other teams they might get sprinkled up in that thing, but I mean, if they did something like spectacular or something, uh, that hat fire. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Uh, let's see. I hate Alabama. I think a lot of people hate Alabama. Uh, I just think that I just think that the 49ers have a good football team. I think that as far as fair weather fans, I can't speak on that once again. Uh, I'm just gonna say, man, it was kind of hard to find some. Uh, I want look when I think about it, I know I said I don't know. I'm gonna say I know maybe 4 or 5 true diehard 49ers fans. Okay, that I could think like right out of my head. But as far as like just saying that, I just know a whole bunch of them. But I mean, I guess it depends on where you stay. I mean, if you're in Louisiana, I mean, most likely you're gonna be a Saints fan or a Cowboy fan. I mean, growing up, that's how it was for me. It was rather you were a Saints fan or you was a Cowboy fan. And you have some 49er fans up in there, like my uncle. He was a 49er fan, but he loved the Saints too. You know what I'm saying? Like I guess, I guess his love was because of Joe Montana, which a lot of people love Joe Montana. But he still rooted for the Saints and stuff like that. So uh, very few like in modern days, you know what I'm saying? I can say that were a true diehard um 49er fan. I've been seeing a lot of 49er fans in town and it makes me sick. Man, they there for the game. They there for the game, man. You know, they gotta root for this. They gotta rep their team too, man. Yeah, y'all ain't letting them slide, boy. Oh man, that's hilarious. Everybody check out Rombo Sports. This San Francisco. Oh man, I just lost it. I'm sorry. I just lost it. The chat just started moving. I'm sorry. Uh, I don't know Rombo podcast or something like that. I'm trying to find it. But anyway, somebody said I love the Seahawks and the Saints. That that's an interesting combination right there. We will lose coaches and players after this season. I yeah, probably. I mean, but that happens when your team is successful. I mean, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose players and you're gonna lose coaches. And honestly, man, the Saints, they better watch out, man, because it's coming up now. They're gonna have to be paying some players, and they might have to, do a little rebuilding. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to do a little rebuilding probably next year, man, because they ain't gonna be able to pay everybody. So let's go ahead and have this final thought. My final thought of the night. Thank y'all once again for checking out the live stream. But this is my final thought. The New Orleans Saints are the number one seed in the NFC. They have a big matchup. The 49ers are a really good football team. I think this is going to be a hard, tough fought game. The Saints are going to really have to bring it. They cannot start slow in this game. I think for the last couple of weeks they've been handling up on their business when it comes to opening drives, scripting the best first 15 to try to get the ball downfield. They're going to have to start fast, okay? And if they're starting on defense, they want to get a three and out to set the tone. If you allow the 49ers to go down the field on their opening drive, if they get they get the ball on offense and they go down there, that's taking the crowd out of the game. The defense has really have to go out there and try to get a three and out. That's to get the crowd in the game. The offense comes on. They try to get the ball downfield. They try to get up 7-0, not kicking field goals, not using Will Lutz, but going out there and scoring and getting a 7-0 lead and let them play from behind and let the crowd continue to develop, you know what I'm saying, and pick up and get everything going. I think that the Saints can really make it really tough in the Superdome for the 49ers. But if they don't jump on these guys quick, they don't go out there and execute, they allow the 49ers to kind of have their way, especially like in the first quarter starting in this game, it might be tough sledding for the New Orleans Saints. But I think that the New Orleans Saints have enough horses in the barn. I think they're motivated. I think they've been listening to the power rankings. They've been paying attention to that stuff. I don't want to hear, oh man, they ain't paying attention to it because I see Cameron Jordan and Marshawn Lattimore and Michael Thomas always posting pro football focus analytics on themselves every single week. So that tells me right there, if you're paying attention to your stats, you got to be paying attention to what the media is saying about you when it comes to the power rankings. So I think these guys are going to rise to the occasion. I think that the New Orleans Saints are going to play like they have a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to go out there and get this victory by a score of 20-17. And that is my final prediction about this Week 14 matchup. And this has been the State of the Saints podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. Also, follow on Facebook, facebook.com, search State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all very much for your love and your support. SOTS Podcast 8 on Twitter, TJ Jones _ on Instagram. Till next time, all I got to say is